conference, uh, Black Casper. I did a conference with Comic Cares. They did like something kind of like this with like a Zoom workshop with a comedian where you ask them questions about stuff. What they do is they have a YouTube channel where they upload all of the Comic Cares things to, but they list them as unlisted. So they're not on, you can't search them on YouTube, but you can send the links out and then they can go straight to YouTube and everyone can see them that way as well.
Oh, cool. Definitely will do that. Thank you. That's a good idea. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, whenever you're ready, if you want to introduce yourself or I don't know.
All right. Well, hi, my name is Anthony Brown. I'm a musician, a stand-up comedian. I go to school at William Paterson University for popular music and legal studies. So I'm a little bit more interested in like the business side of music stuff, but I love to play music and do all that good stuff. I want to play with my band. That's like my goal. So like I like to get into nitty gritty with like the music business. Cause I know I'm doing most of like that stuff for my band. So I don't know how in depth everything was supposed to be. So I just have some things I thought were super important that I want to go through. And if anyone has any questions or if I'm going too deep or too far out, just shoot something in the chat. And if someone could pull up the chat, because I cannot do it while, actually, I think I can. If you just post in the chat, I will look at it. Or if you want to just speak into the microphone, if you have any questions, I will answer the questions as well that way. All right, so we're going to begin with licensing. There are 6 main types of licenses that you can use for various purposes, and we can go through them real fast. Sync licenses, which its long name is for a synchronization license. It's basically any license that you would, basically how you sign up for licenses is you go through a publisher. There's hundreds of publishers. I think Harry Fox is probably the best bet because that's the largest one. They have the biggest outreach. They pay the most money. So Harry Fox is the one I would recommend. But there's tons of small mom and pop shops all across the country that do publishing, and they basically are in charge of all of your licensing. So if someone wants to use your song in something, they would have to buy the specific type of licensing. So synchronized licensing is for like for video or visual media, like movies, TV, advertisements, video games, YouTube, where all of that stuff comes from. Like if someone doesn't like instead of say someone takes your song, puts it on YouTube and it gets flagged and taken down, or they can pay for the sync rights and then they can put your song in the thing and you also make money. They make money on the video as well. And so, yeah, that's basically it. It's just any synchronized licensing comes from any type of video format. So any type of video format that your songs are on. And they will pay you a certain amount or a certain rate, which is called a statutory rate, which I will get to a little bit later. All right. Mechanical licenses are basically for cover songs. If you're going to cover anybody or you're going to use any other work beside your own, you're going to have to pay a mechanical licensing fee to play that or to record that and sell it on your own, because you can sell it and make money off of it as long as you pay for the mechanical licensing that comes with it, because then that artist who initially made the song will also get paid as well. Master license. Masters are very important. I say my biggest thing is always own your masters. Always own your masters. No, never sign away your masters unless it's a crazy deal where it's not a 360 deal. I'll go into 360 deals later. If it's a crazy deal that you're getting, then you might want to give a little bit of your masters away. But that's only if in the case of like in the olden days, like in the 60s, where it was like Motown and doo-wop, they used what we would call today an industry plant is what was the actual standards. They would find a guy somewhere performing and then they would give him a bunch of money, contract, and they would spend all of their time and effort and money promoting that artist and getting them big that way. Now it's more nowadays it's more you're working on your own and you build your brand up. And with a master license, it's basically you own the audio file. You own that thing completely. And so when you send your masters away, or when you let someone have your master's license, that's mainly used for in rap, normally in the form of sampling. Forgot the main examples I was using, so I'm going to go with an old one. 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, or 6 foot, 8 foot, or whatever, by Lil Wayne, used a 1960s song, 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot. That was a real song from like the 60s or the 70s, and he used that. So he had to buy the master license to put that into his new song. So so when you buy a master license, that money goes directly to the original song creator. So sometimes if you don't own your masters, then whoever owns that your masters will then get that money instead. So I always say own your masters, because to me those are like my babies. My songs are my children. So I would never sign away my children away. So I'm not going to sign away my master's rights. All right, so public performance license, really great for musicians. I love the public performance license. It's basically anytime your song gets played in public, online, or on radio, and it's a performance, you're going to get paid. Like if you go to a venue, you will get, and you play like an established venue. Like if you play at a bar, they probably aren't going to do a performance license. But if you're playing like Irving Plaza or like any of the club places, sorry, I'm doing a lot of New York based things because that's where I'm near, or Irving Plaza, Webster Hall, any of like a nice sized like club that plays music, the booker, the promoter, or the club itself will then buy the performance license for those songs that you're playing that night, and then you'll get money sent to your PRO or your publisher, depending on which one you decided to have cover your licensing. And then there's a print rights license, which is anything that's on print. If you want to turn your songs into sheet music, lyrics, anything that's written down, put on the internet, that's a license people have to buy to put your stuff out, to put your stuff out there on the internet or on paper or in like downloadable sheet music. Because like there's tons of websites that have popular music songs in sheet music form. They all have to pay Prince rights licensing. That's why you normally have to pay like $5.99 or $6.99 for those sheet musics, because they're also paying someone else to have the right to sell the sheet music. Theatrical license, it's kind of self-explanatory. Anything that's in a play, opera, dance, or like a dramatic performance, if it's like playing in the background as like theme music, normally this is for composers who are doing like non-lyric based music, most likely like orchestral music normally, will be put into this theatrical license field. Statutory rates is basically your royalty payments per licensing. So if you're doing physical recordings for your song, say like you make an album and you start selling copies of your album, or if someone makes an album with like a mechanical license and they cover one of your songs, or someone makes an album for a movie and they have one of your songs in it, you're going to get a statutory rate. And the statutory rate right now is exactly 9.1 cents for recordings less than 5 minutes. And if you're going to make and if your song is over 5 minutes, so you have a 10-minute song, you get an extra 1.75 cents per minute of that song. So that is it's a lot. It's really little. So what basically the statutory rates only work is if you get lots of plays and lots of people buying your licensing and having it on the radio and stuff like that. All right. Any questions about licensing? Nope. All right, moving. Yep. Go on.
Oh no, I was just saying not yet.
All right. Apollo?
Yes. I guess in terms of licensing and all that, when it comes to like an artist and the master's license specifically, when you're giving away that license, is that specifically for the recording of a song or for the song, like the lyrics of a song as well?
That's for the audio recording. For a
Gotcha.
master's license, that's for your audio recording. Say like you have a song that's out on Spotify, it's your number one song, and someone who let's take rap because that's most likely where it's going to come from, takes a part of your song and at like verbatim and puts it in their song, maybe loops it or something, and they sample it. They have to pay a master license. They have to pay for the master's license to use that song, to even use that part of the song in your song. I mean, in their song.
Okay.
So they would have to have that. And if they're trying to use any lyrics, if they were like printing out lyrics or putting it on like a lyric website, normally it's a Prince rights license that they would have to get.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because I don't know where with someone using a part of your song for something and asking for the license to use that song,
they can use the license with if you own 100% of it, they can use the license with they can use your song without buying the license if they have your permission, if you own 100% of it. But if you don't give them the permission, they can buy the licensing through your publisher. So they can pay you for it at least.
Right, exactly. I guess like in my brain too, like say you have multiple licenses for multiple different versions of an audio recording of a song, if that's possible.
Yeah, every version of one song, there can be 6 possible licensing for it.
Gotcha.
Because someone can take that song and put it in a play.
Right. I wonder if there's official recordings, like if you have one mastered version on Spotify that's like a really upbeat version of a song, and maybe there's one that's really acoustic. Like, do those count as completely different songs? Especially if like the lyrics are the same, the musicality might be the same, but maybe the arrangements are different.
Even if everything's the same, but one's acoustic and one's like full like electronic or full band, or those are 2 completely separate recordings. So those, now you have 12 possible licenses. There's 6 for your full recording, and there's 6 for the acoustic.
Cool. Thank you.
And and just for like clarity, like securing master licenses you do with getting a copyright for that recording, correct?
Yeah, for the way copyright works in music is, it's really weird. Technically, you don't have to you don't have to go to any copyright website for music. Technically, as soon as you fix something to a medium, it's automatically copyright by US law. So if you write down song lyrics and you write down some notes like on a sheet of paper, that's copywritten. But I highly suggest and recommend putting it on a website, on the copyright website. I think you can put like a whole album on for like $75.
Yeah.
I highly recommend doing just registering it with the copyright of the United States. You can do it online now. It's pretty easy and self-forward. I will not be talking about publishing. Sorry, I got a chat question. I will not be talking about publishers in specifics, but I can answer some questions about publishers if you would like. If you have a specific question about publishers, Shakira, you could throw that into the chat and I will answer that. But for right now, I guess we'll move on to 360 deals, which is I wanted to go through this type of contract rather than any of the other major contracts, because this is if you're 9 times out of 10, young artists are getting this type of deal most of the time. All right, sorry, got a chat question. All right, so I'm going to answer this question before I get into 360 deals because it kind of relates back to licensing. So the question is define what publishers do and how to get one. And if you have the time, please take it. All right, sorry. So what publishers do is they cover all of the 6 right here in your licensing. They cover, when you get to with a publisher, you will, they are the people who collect the money for all of the licensing. So someone buys a theatrical license, someone buys a mechanical license, a prints rights license. They are collecting that money for you, and they're sending it out. And how do you get one? You can just sign up with one. Some publisher, you can submit your stuff and try to be a writer for a publishing company. There's 2 ways to be a part of a publishing company. You can either pay a fee and have them just collect your money, or you could try to be on technically a publisher's writing staff as a full-time writer, and they'll give you like an advance, like just like any record company would, but now you, instead of writing for yourself, you're writing for the publishing company. And so you're just writing a bunch of songs, and then they send them out to other artists who may be bigger or smaller, but who will then take that song and then perform it from there. So there's 2 ways to get a publisher. It depends. It's either they are employing you or you're employing them. As I said earlier, Harry Fox is the biggest, and I think it's the best because it has a lot of options of where to go. But I would, oh, no problem. But I would say, yeah, because that's one of the biggest ones. Harry Fox, they have the largest catalog. They have the best help because they're the biggest in the world at doing this. There's a UK company that's a little bit smaller than them that works, but Harry Fox is normally like the industry standard. There's hundreds of publishing companies though. There's a bunch of small ones. There's mom and pop shops, and then there's huge corporations multi-corporation ones. And there's some that are in PROs. I'm going to get to PROs a little bit later. All right. 360 deals. This is the main type of contract. Funny enough, this contract was first started. Paramore was the first ever group or first ever artist to get a 360 deal in like the early 2000s. Paramore was the first one to get one of these. And this is these deals are not the best, but it depends on your situation. You have to really read and really look at the deal that you're getting, because with a normal record contract in the pre-2000s, you would get a record deal, you get your advance, and you would either have to pay the money back through the recoupable or non-recoupable, but they didn't take any money out of your merch, your tickets. Anything you made outside of the initial recordings was your money. But now with a 360 deal, the way it works is the company has kind of its hands in a little bit of everything to try to get their money back. So with the advent of the internet, because the only reason this happens because with the creation of the internet, the music industry is taking a major hit in its actual money that it's making. Like the corporation is taking a little bit of a hit. So what they've decided to do is just try to make up that money back. It's by getting their hands in all the other aspects of making money as a musician, as well as the actual selling of the recordings and streaming and stuff like that. So here are the 8 ways that the 360 deal works. So they have a little bit of their hand in your physical sales, your sync rights, your sponsorships, your merchandising, your ticketing, your broadcasts. So like TV, songs for like soccer. Like for example, Fall Out Boy is like the biggest band in the world when it comes to like sports tracks. Like if you're watching ESPN, you're normally going to hear like Centuries or something in the background because they're just like, they're really good, like pump up sports songs to like promote games. But they're too big to have like a 360 deal. But like if they did have a 360 deal, they'd be taking 10 to 30% of that, your digital sales and your live entertainment. So they have a little bit of your hand in every single form of every single avenue of where you can make money. They have their hand in a little bit of it. So it kind of works out because like, well, I'll get to how it works out and how it doesn't work out in the next things. So we have an advance is what's a big misconception about record contracts, especially with like 360 deals, is that you get paid from a recording contract. Actually, you get paid for a fact $0 for every single recording contract that's a 360 deal or anything. You're getting paid $0. What they consider this, but you are getting paid money. What's called is it's an advance. So they assume you're going to make a certain amount of money doing throughout the contract. For example, say you get a contract for 3 years, 3 years, $300,000. So they're saying not 3 years, 3 albums, $300,000. So they're saying you're going to make 100,000. They're thinking you're going to make $100,000 per album. So they're thinking that they're going to recoup at least $100,000 back per album. And then there's 2 types of guarantees, which are very important. There's the recoupable guarantee, which is say you get an advance for $300,000 for three records, and at the end of your contract, at the end of your 3 records, you make $258,000. They can ask for the rest of that money back up until the $300,000. But with a non-recoupable, which is what everyone should look for, for the words non-recoupable in any contract. Non-recoupable is like the big story of this entire thing. Look for non-recoupable contracts. So basically, if you same scenario, three albums, $300,000, you make $258,000 for those 3 albums. You owe the record company squat. That money that they gave you in that advance is yours, and that's great because like what they're doing is they pay you $300,000, and then for the royalties on all of your stuff, all the licensing comes out of that, all of your merch, and then they try to take as much of that as possible to get to that 300,000. After that 300,000, then you probably need a really good entertainment lawyer to negotiate the percentage of the split afterwards. Because if you make more than that $300,000, then there's going to be a split in your contract to how much who gets what. So it depends on really how much of your masters do you own. If you're like Lil Uzi Vert and you don't like the way the masters and the deal worked out, because like it's not really good to blow up real fast, like that, for example, that artist, because he's kind of very ignorant about the music industry. He just blew up really fast, and then he got in this big thing with the record label because he signed a deal that he didn't know was really awful. So it's always good to find out what you want in a contract. So non-recoupable, so you don't have to pay people back. That's a really good thing. Did I miss something? Does anyone have any questions about 360 deals or how recoupable, non-recoupable contracts work, or statutory rates? Nope. I'm checking the chat. Nope. All right.
Wait, I have a question. I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't know if maybe I came in a little too late for this question, but like radio play, is that like an ASCAP thing? Is that
actually
like a thing?
I didn't get to radio yet. I do have something on that.
Amazing. I'll shut up then.
No, it's no problem. So if the album makes more than what the artist was paid in the advance. All right. So if that happens, that goes up to who you had as your entertainment lawyer, because your entertainment lawyer is going to negotiate that split price. That's all split percentages, and it's normally based off of how you sign that contract. Because what normally happens in a 360 deal contract is they send you a deal, you send it to your lawyer edits it, sends it back, their lawyers look at it, they edit it again, they send it back, and it's a lot of back and forth to see until they come to an agreement in the middle. So if you make more than the advance that was given, there's normally a split in the contract depending on how much money you initially made. So there's normally a percentage split between them, and it's normally based off of how much do you own of your music still. It all depends on the final percentages of that specific contract. It could be a 41-58 split, with some of it going to a third-party situation or some of it going to something else. There is also, the record company will charge you for stuff too. I forgot to mention that because no problem. The record company will also charge you for stuff. Like for example, when they make CDs, and they make even though CDs are out and stuff, but if they like pay for CDs, if they pay for vinyl, or something like that, they'll charge you a fee for the pressing of the CD, or they'll charge you a fee for the pressing of the vinyl and stuff like that. So they will take that out of, they will try to add that onto your advance as well. So it may be a percentage split, but they also might take some money out because of your actual physical copies of your work. Excuse me. All right, live music costs, because I didn't know there were so many costs to the musician through this process while learning about it. Because when you're going to like the bigger venues and you're going to like clubs and playing shows where they're paying you, the live music venue also takes a percentage of certain things. Like if you're selling merch in like the little lobby area, they take a percentage of your merch. That's why merch is normally a little bit more expensive at a show than it would be online. And that's why people like try to get around that by having like exclusive tour merch, and they make it a little bit more expensive because it's going to eat at their bottom line. It could be 10%, it could be 25% at some places. Sometimes you get parking, and sometimes they take a percentage out of parking. Sometimes if you like, I remember one time I saw Modern Baseball live at Irving Plaza, and they had like drinks named after their songs. They get a part of that. Like the band gets a part of the drinks, but like the club obviously takes a little bit of the drink money. Production fees, if you're a smaller band and you don't have like your own sound guy and your own mic people, those fees are going to come. They're going to take those fees out as well to pay those people to work the venue for you. But also in writers, you can also ask for ridiculous things. My professor, he runs one of the largest music business companies on the East Coast. Like he represents 3 Doors Down, Kiss, Matt Morrison, Charlie Puth. And one story he told me when we were in class is 3 Doors Down once played a show for Six Flags in New Jersey. No, not in New Jersey. It was the Florida one. For Six Flags, they were paid $100,000 for the show. So in the writer, you can ask for things. So I would say just ask for ridiculous stuff. And because you might not know what you can get from it, because like they're also taking so much money out of what you should have been making to begin with. Like you could ask for like 2 Cokes in one room and then 1 Fresca in another. And then sometimes it's there. Like they can say yes or no to some things. They said yes to everything on their list, like catering, food, and stuff like that. They took care of them pretty well. But the one thing that they weren't allowed to have in their writer was that the band of 5 guys asked for 48 towels. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm always going to ask for 48 towels. If I ever get a writer, I only want 48 towels. It's a weird request. So I would love to see that. So yeah, you can ask for, that's where you hear the stories about people wanting all green M&Ms in the green room or something like that. Yeah, so a writer is really complex because it's like where you ask for like the things that you want, like in your green room and stuff, but it's also where you have the contracts for your merch percentages, your parking and stuff like that. So it's very, very specific. Yeah, I could see Mariah Carey asking for an all-white green room. I can see that. She's a diva, I heard. She wants things her way, but that's okay. I guess she's big enough to do that. All right, so, oh wait, 3 questions. All right, so PROs. A PRO is basically a way to help songwriters and publishers get paid for using their music. There are 3 major PROs in the United States. There's a Canadian one that's also pretty big, but so the 3 major ones is ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. ASCAP and BMI are nonprofit. CSAC is for profit. They do keep a percentage of what their artists make. But I guess I think they work a little bit more diligently because they're trying to make the money. So if you perform anywhere, you get these things called performance royalties. So if you perform at a radio station, or if you have music on a radio station, satellite, internet, TV, or performed live, like a PRO is supposed to be a place where you get all of your money into one place. Some publishers use it if you're small enough. The bigger publishers are in charge of all of the other licensing stuff. So PROs just are able to funnel in all your money to one place and get the payouts like regularly to you. Yeah, so performance royalties are paid out by radio stations, venues, and TV networks to performance rights organized. ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, for profit. Yeah, SOCAN is the Canadian one. All right, so
I have a question.
Yes, question.
Because I'm a migrant, right? So my nationality is like from France, but like I live in Canada, but I don't have like, I'm under like implied status. So it's like I don't know but the thing is like most of the music, and I guess like now like the people I work with are in the States, like where am I supposed to, like which one am I supposed to sign up for?
I believe even if you're out of the country of the United States, I'm pretty sure you can still sign up for ASCAP or BMI or CSAC.
Even if I'm not American? Yes,
I believe so. I believe that's for all. I think it's just for all artists. It's just a good PRO. I think SOCAN should still be able to accept you even if you're not a full citizen of Canada. I'm not so sure about SOCAN. That's one that's one of the more aloof ones that I haven't really gotten into, but I'm pretty sure that the main 3 are just without borders. Like you can just be a part of one of them.
Cool.
Any other questions actually about PROs?
So sort of like following up what King just said. So does that mean that like when we talk about ASCAP and BMI, they are collecting the royalties just in the United States, and SOCAN is collecting royalties just for, you know, syncs that happen in Canada?
Actually, no. The PROs are basically like if you go overseas and you're playing shows at like live music venues that are registered, they are still paying your PRO for the live performance. So that's why I believe it should be without borders because of because of just overseas playing and overseas live gigs.
Okay.
Oh no, songwriters cannot join all of the organizations. You can only join one of them. It's like if it's so, because you can't have like ASCAP collecting for a song that was played on the radio and BMI also collecting for the same song, the same play. So you have to pick like one. Actually, side note, ASCAP does have a publisher built into its brand. So you go through ASCAP, and I think it's called ACE Publishing. I may be wrong on the acronym, but I know ASCAP has a publisher within its PRO system as well. But songwriters should pick one and join one, because then you're gonna have like a bunch of PROs fighting to get the money, and then I don't know what would happen. I'm pretty sure it's either you're gonna split all of your money into very, very, very small chunks, or the PR or you may not be able to sign up for multiple ones. Sorry, that was to answer Shakira's question in the chat. All right, so I think these are my last two slides. Yes, so Sound Exchange. Sound Exchange collects all royalties for all sound recordings on non-interactive digital radio. This includes recordings, soundtracks made by actors, comedians, spoken word artists. So basically for radio, like terrestrial radio, you're going to have like non-interactive terrestrial radio, iHeartRadio online when you can't pick your songs, not like Pandora. I don't think Pandora is included with it. Sirius Radio is included. Then Sound Exchange collects those royalties, and then they send them to your PRO. Sound Exchange collects the royalty and then sends it to your PRO, and then your PRO sends it to your artist. But also, the way Sound Exchange works is a little bit different as well, because under the law at least the United States law, 45% of royalties, yes, I can move this. 45% of royalties are paid directly to featured artists. So say it's like a song, it's like Drake featuring, Drake featuring Kanye West. Kanye West is going to get 45% of that song performance on the radio. Drake's going to get 50%. And then whoever made the beat or whoever made the music, like if they're studio musicians, they're going to make the 5%. Like if like Ariana Grande makes a song and she has a bunch of studio musicians, they're going to all split the 5% that was extra for that song, and then get the 50%. Or if you play everything yourself, you can get the 55%. So you would get 55, and then if they're featured artists, we get 45. But if there's no featured artist and you play everything yourself, you can get the full 100% of that money. And that's just for all radio, non-interactive, so like terrestrial radio and online internet radio, Sirius radio. They will Sound Exchange collects all of that and then sends it to your PRO. Are there any questions about Sound Exchange? All right, do we have any questions as a whole? Because I think I'm done with the presentation.
I have a question that I don't know if you know I don't know if this is off topic or if you already addressed this because I had to step away for a bit. But how do you put music on like stock music sites?
On which sites?
On like stock music websites, yeah. Do you know how that works?
Like free music websites?
So I work as a video editor. So I spend a lot of time on like various like stock music, Epidemic Sound, Jingle Punks are the main two I use. I'm curious as like those licensings.
Those licensings are sync licenses, actually, right here. You would have to pay for the sync, right? So if you're going for a stock sound website, no, most likely that stock sound is it's normally just a stock thing. So it's normally a free website where you can get those, where you don't have to pay a licensing fee for that, because those are just extra sounds that people put on the internet. But if you're using someone's song or like someone's actual like line of work, then you would be paying a sync license fee, so it wouldn't get taken down on YouTube.
Can I actually step in real quick? 'Cause I know a little bit
Yeah.
about specifically Epidemic Sound, because Epidemic is very unique because in order to get your music on the platforms that like Epidemic Sound works with, you can't be affiliated with a PRO.
Oh,
So they're actually working outside of the business as it has been for however long.
yeah. They're also
Uh,
Swedish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Question: do you pay for any of the sounds that you get?
So
off the website?
I have a license through the company that I work for.
An Epidemic.
So they pay,
No,
but I
but
have unlimited downloads.
yeah, but yeah. Do you get downloads? Like, does the company have to pay for the downloads?
I don't know the exact. They have like a subscription where we have unlimited downloads, but
Oh, all right.
it's a large company, so we also have like direct access to the Epidemic people. We can just tell them, "Hey, pick us a song."
The
Oh, all right.
the way that it works on Epidemic's end or like with the artist is that the artist signs up with Epidemic. Epidemic orders songs, so they pay you up front before they even get it purchased or downloaded via the subscription model. So basically, Epidemic is paying the artist first, and then various companies or whatever, like influencers or like YouTubers, content creators that need the songs has a paid subscription to Epidemic.
That
Oh,
makes
so that
sense.
means Epidemic is that means Epidemic is working like a publisher. That is a
Exactly, but
publisher.
it's outside of the model of
Yeah,
PROs. It's very strange. But it's
yeah.
cool. It's interesting.
That
So
explains
yeah,
why
that's a publisher that's going to pay you directly to write songs. Yeah, that's a type of publishing firm. So where if they don't want you to work with a PRO, that means they're going to pay you directly for your music. Yeah, so that's more of a publisher, if anything. So you would have to like sign with them without being in a PRO. We got another question. If royalties are sent to PRO, how does the publisher also collect royalties? So the way royalties work is publishers collect on licensing fees. So basically, if people need to use something for anything, for a play, TV, movies, covers, sampling, they would go to the publisher and buy the licensing. And with a PRO, it's you're collecting fees for just like all plays. If like that's like your streaming, that's if you have a physical if you're selling physical copies online somewhere, if you're going it through a record label, that money would go straight to the PRO. So royalties, you're getting two separate royalty streams that way. You're getting all of your licensing through your publisher, and you're getting your PRO royalties through the other modes of performing that song, or through like the actual recording of the song, just by people playing it and listening to it, and radio playing it and listening to it and stuff like that. So they're kind of split. There's the licensing for publishers, and then there's PROs, which will take like the regular listening. Also with a publisher, you can with like some, like as with ASCAP is a PRO, but they also hold a publishing firm, so they can do both right there. If you're releasing any music or have any music out, I would just automatically right now after this sign up for a PRO. I think I'm with BMI. I have a record coming out soon, so I'm already submitted my work through BMI. So I'm just waiting for it to be accepted, and then I'll just release the record. It does take a couple days for it to actually be accepted. You have to submit it, and then it's about 2 or 3 day wait, and then they'll send you an email saying it's accepted or that you have to change something. Oh, one thing I wanted to get to. I know that there's going to be a tour 101 thing lecture, but I got some good tour advice, which is always plan out the route, like not just like the cities, but plan out the actual driving route on which you're going to each place. Find out the rest stops. Find out which places are going to be like more desolate than others. Try to plan out gas stations, things like that, places to sleep, and also make sure you're booking far enough away from the other cities that you're not double tapping your market, while at the same time staying close to that city, so where you're not trying to drive 16 hours to play to just barely make it to the next show. So normally I would say about I think 190 or 200 mile radius between each show, which is normally like 2 hours, 3 hours away. You can only get to another state within 2 hours, unless it's like Kansas, which is 400 miles long, which is kind of crazy. So you have to normally go up or down from that. But normally 200 miles is where I think is a good distance away from your previous spot. Is there any more questions?
One more question.
Yeah, I got one in the chat here. Oh. Does SoundCloud or Facebook own any of your master rights if you put your music there? No, you didn't sign a contract with Facebook or SoundCloud. They don't own jack. I'd also say if you're gonna upload to SoundCloud, don't. I'd say upload to Bandcamp. It's way better. You can actually put up. It's a lot more customizable. Your page, you get to see. You have a good look at your stats. It's a great way to set up a merch if you have any merch. They by far give the best payouts on selling music. They give the best percentages when you sell your songs to like people, because like you can sell right to people. If you want to choose, you could pick your prices too. You can have a single go out for free for 200 downloads, and then have it go out for like $1.99 for the rest of the downloads or whatever. So you can track very well. They pay very well, and they do promote their artists that are on the platform a lot. They have their own music blog station where they cover every single genre in its own right. So it's really good. They promote the artists very well on the platform by itself. It's almost like it's its own social media platform at the same time as a place to go listen and buy cool music. I'd highly suggest Bandcamp over SoundCloud. SoundCloud's kind of like stagnant. You don't really get that much out of it, especially when it comes to selling your music right there. If it's a great song, people can download it right there on Bandcamp. There's going to be a video of this afterwards. We're recording this video as like a video file. So Shakira, I believe we're gonna send it out to people.
Yeah, I'm gonna upload it on YouTube as unlisted, and then it's gonna be in a drive that I'll be sending, over to people, with all the other workshops that we have today. So, yeah, and tomorrow.
All right, awesome. All right, if there's no more questions, I can answer some more questions if you got them. Nope.
Can you talk about, sorry, I keep having to like find my unmute button.
It's all right.
can you go into a little bit of detail about like point distribution and kind of like how complicated or uncomplicated that can get? Because I know you kind of touched on it with like featured artists at 45 and you know, the studio band players, etc. But, you know, recently I've been seeing a lot of, especially like pop tracks where you'll have 3 different producers credited under a producer line. So are we kind of dividing those 3 producers up under the same kind of producer point? Are they each getting their own producer points? And then in turn, like, how does mixing get counted into royalties, etc.? Like, how does all of that kind of trickle down?
All right. So
First of all,
with
for you don't like for transgenders, you don't like mixing and stuff. People like do it for free. So like that stuff, like unless you have a specific contract with people, like those people do it for free. So for us, it's a little bit different. But then like, sorry, Anthony, I'll let you.
Oh, it's all right. Well, it's great that you guys do that, but in general, when you're doing a point distribution, if there's 3 producers on a song, normally the points for normally it's around 10% for producer credit, but if there's 3 producers on a song, you're splitting that 10% between the 3 producers because they did a percentage of the work for that to make up 1 producer point. They don't get their own full 10% of that song. I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question?
That kind of like answered a lot. What about like a song that has like 10 different songwriters? Same concept?
Oh yeah, that happened. Yeah, it happens a lot now. There's this one Imagine Dragons song that I have been like researching a bunch about because I think it's an exact copy of "Live Your Life" by T.I. featuring Rihanna, which is an 11-year-old song, and Whatever It Takes has like 11 songwriters on it, and none of the song and "Live Your Life" by Rihanna and T.I. has about 8 songwriters on it, and all those songwriters are getting a split credit. But here's the main thing: everyone's fighting for the chorus. If you're in a room full of songwriters, no one's trying to write a good song. They're trying to write the chorus, because the chorus, if it gets played by itself, whoever has the chorus gets the most money. Like, they split it up evenly besides the chorus. The chorus is the guy who gets the most money for some reason, because sometimes that's the only part that plays in a commercial or TV, or if it's a jumpy song, it could be put into the background of an ad. It's the most recognizable and identifiable part of a song. So for songwriters, if there's like 11 songwriters on a song, it's everyone gets the same besides the chorus guy. The chorus person gets the most for some reason. But it's like a little bit more. I highly suggest, if you're gonna write, just one person. Does that answer it?
It does, yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Come on, internet.
Like a lot of great information.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I had a lot of fun doing this. Thanks so much for having me. I hope this was useful information.
Yeah, definitely.
If there's any other questions, you can always shoot me a DM at Juilliard_today on Instagram. I'm always on there.
Awesome. And
But
do you
if that's it, yeah, thanks.